Hello, my name's Declan Lee. I'm an 18-year-old racing driver from Horsham. The year's 2020, and I race in the Mazda MX-5 Super Cup. And we're doing that here at Silverstone National this week. Well, after travelling around France with a few French kart circuits, just the corporate stuff, arrive and drive, my dad thought, well, maybe to persuade him out of doing any more racing or give him a proper race kart, that should scare him enough, but I just loved it. With a very competitive British karting scene, I just kept with that, and I did that for 6 years, and I've only recently, in 2020, had to close the doors on that and concentrate on the car racing. After my first race, which was more of a sailing event, it seemed to me, I was in a little Honda Cadet, which is a little singly engined Honda, almost powered by a lawnmower, but extremely competitive. I was at a place called Bayford Meadows, and it was less of a meadow more than a lake, just travelling through these huge puddles. It was quite fun, and I just knew I loved it from then and just kept on going again. I wanted to try and get a dry event, but it just kept raining and I just kept coming back. It's not really a grind. I mean, sometimes it is, but I absolutely love it. I love most moments. I struggle to think of any I dislike. Certainly sitting in a karting garage all the way up north, sitting huddled around a little fire was not particularly nice, but as soon as you get onto circuit, I absolutely love every moment of it. I've done it for 6 years now, and it is truly my passion, and I want to do it for as long as I can. My biggest inspiration for racing, a lot of people would say, oh, it's Lewis Hamilton, and sure, a very, very talented driver, but I like to look at the people who I race around with. My new team boss, Aidan Hills, extremely talented, very inspirational, but especially people like Luke Herbert who just keep winning the championship. I just look at him and think, how can I be doing that? How can I work like him and be as fast as him? And that's really my goal. The change from karting to car racing, I tried to do in a smooth transition. It was advised by my karting team, who had seen a lot of drivers come from karting into racing, that I concentrate on mainly the car racing, but did a little bit of karting on the side, just to keep my morals up. I knew that I wasn't going to be winning races straight away, whereas I could possibly do that in karting, I'd like to think. So to keep my morals up, I would continuously kart as well as do a bit of car racing. And for the 2020 season, I moved further away from karting into the cars, and now we've fully committed to the cars, working on trying to do as best as we can in the Mazda MX-5 2020 Super Cup Championship. My favourite circuit, I've only raced in the UK. For karting it would be Butmore Park. Unfortunately they don't do owner-driver, which is the more professional side of karting. They're only open to arrive and drive days, which is still very fun. Really good way to get into motorsport. How I personally got into motorsport was through that. In terms of car racing, you'll see me now at Silverstone National, which is a great open circuit. Extremely windy, but very technical. When it comes to my favourite circuit, I always used to dislike Cadwell. I thought it was a little too tight for my liking, but after racing there, it is just karting using cars. It is very impressive.
I think that motorsport in itself is a very good disciplined environment. If you're to do well at it, then you're going to have to learn how to approach setbacks, how you're going to have to deal with trying to go forward against the adversity. It's a real character challenge. It forces disciplines onto you on diet, what you drink. It's a very demanding environment, and if you're not doing those things, generally you're not going to achieve the success. So it's a very focused activity, and I think for young people this will help them generally in their life. One of the earliest racing drivers that Declan got to know said that every motor racing event was what he called le petit vie, because he was French, which means the small life. And I absolutely understand what he meant by that. In the course of a weekend, you go through so many ups and downs and so much drama that it's almost like a life in itself. when he was doing his first kart session, on the second session to be exact, the guys who are running this kart circuit asked me how long he'd been karting for. Clearly they thought he'd been karting for a long time. And when I said this is actually his first time out in a race car, they said he's very good, he's very good. And so I thought, I've got a talent perhaps. I think overall that's what I would stress, is the way in which he's had to deal with the setbacks, which every driver, maybe every sportsman, has to deal with if they're going to improve. Obviously there have been some big moments. The very first race that he won was absolutely marvellous, and it took a while to arrive, so that made it all the sweeter.
Personal enjoyment. If you enjoy what you do it from a young age, you really have a passion for it. Anyone can be good, but to be really good is just practice. Try and find the cheapest way to practice as possible, whether that's going to an indoor kart circuit near where you live, or a circuit like Bayford Meadows where we are today, just lap after lap after lap. I must have done more than 2,000 laps around here. I could probably do it with my eyes closed. Just a lot of practice. I think the best way to start out is karting. I started that way. I think it's a really wholesome community. There's a huge competitive British karting scene, and you can go from karting in Britain all the way to Europe. It's a whole motorsport formula in itself. I moved for car racing because it's better for sponsorship, but only when I was good enough and felt I had the race experience to go that way. I did karting for 5 years with a team called Project One, who were only over there, and when I came back they were so happy to see me, and it's just a great community which I'm still involved in, as much as I don't do any karting anymore. And I see people that I used to race with years ago in car races as well, so it's a really good way to get to know everyone and start out at a young age. Where do I see my motorsport career in 12 months' time? I mean, a bit of a hard question. We're in COVID times and we don't know where that's going to bring us, but with a bit of luck, we came fourth. We've wrapped up the Mazda Championship this year, coming fourth, which is, I think, really good for my age and my first year in Supercup Mazdas. Silverstone might not have been the best round for me, but I made up for it at Brands and managed to come fourth in the championship. I'm going to try and win it next year, and I'm going to try as hard as I can. I'm going to put everything towards it, because I know that if I can win the Mazda Championship, I can bring in more sponsors, and I can maybe race something bigger and make my dream come true. I want to be a professional racing driver, and I'm going to do everything I can to fulfill my dreams.